What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit quick about crypto dumpers or token dumpers. I think this topic is sort of fascinating in many ways, especially when I look at how I came into this blockchain space and how I easily got buy-in and how I easily throwed in maybe $7,000 in this. And I got so much buy-in because, well, you saw the big fat payouts. So I had some $100 payouts or $100 posts basically, and it's really funny because involvement is really a fascinating thing. So I saw that, okay, this is some paradigm shift, this is some new technology, this is really, really interesting. I mean, this cannot just go away, right? Because it's just too good. And I mean, actually, it is too good. That's why it's still around. So, crypto dumpers, something that people always talking about. This is, I mean, it's so interesting, this topic, because, okay, so how do you make a token that people do not want to dump? You need them to be involved with that project a lot, where they themselves have not just invested, like, where they have invested their own life into something. If they really do that, like all their energy and they really yeah, if they really invest their life into something, and I mean on a daily basis, and they find real utility of that. But the key aspect here is that they, if they actually are, like what most people are doing is usually it's not projects where people have any sort of involvement in them. Really, I mean, there's really no, most of them are just hold and just waiting for an opportunity to sell. And then you do get the crypto dumpers, the token dumpers. So it's quite interesting here, where, okay, so if you want to create a system where the tokens do not get dumped, you really need to make a system where only the human beings that has maximum involvement is getting the tokens, is getting the rewards, like the people that cares the most, and is most involved, that they actually get the tokens. If they care the most, then, and if they really identify it, and if they invested a lot of themselves into it, then why would they, like, if they invest their life, and with life I mean, you know, time and energy that they cannot get back, and they invest years into something, why would they ever dump? It really, then it really makes no sense, right? So that's really the key of all of this, that when a person knows, when they associate work with a token, and they're working for a token, then they want to buy more, right? Or they want to get more of that, right? And it may not even be for making more value. It may just be that they are proud of a project, or they want to be a part of something that looks great. They're looking at something on a growth on a daily basis, and people are always looking at the token, but shouldn't they more look at how involved the people are, and are they really investing themselves as human beings into some project? Well, I don't actually, in most stuff right now, I do not see that. I do not see that humans are investing themselves into something, where they are all in into something. So it does make sense that people are gonna dump those projects, because people are not, I mean, it's just a money game, right? And that's kind of fascinating with this whole sort of culture in many ways, where you have you have this idea of sell high, or buy low, sell high. And I mean, but then you're actually, if that is the mentality, then you're basically just a leech, that is just trying to take, in many ways. While how it actually should work is humans that basically give it all, or is highly involved, they get the rewards, or they get rewarded. And if tokens are going to the right places, where they actually should, then things should work out pretty fine. Let's say even then one person out of 100 of those, okay, they dump a bit. But then another one is going to be so happy to buy that up quick because they have invested a lot of time and energy into something. And I know that you can look at this in many, many ways because people always want to move it back towards price. But price is going to be naturally price is naturally going to follow when something is amazing. If you really consider people have buy-in into something and they're putting out their best work, and you have thousands of them, price automatically follows. It's so natural. If the humans are doing great stuff, price naturally will follow, because humans are not just interested. In many ways, it's a movement thing. It's like Apple, or Google, or these fanboy groups. It's more about a movement, actually. Even though when the price goes down a lot, or when the price massively increases a lot, people tend to lose focus. Because in many ways, yes, we do live in a world where, economy is important. So that is an aspect of things still. But yeah, I mean, and that's just interesting. So token dumpers, I mean, we really have to look at this in many ways, from a more realistic perspective. How do you make systems where people actually are buying into them? Buying into, not with some fiat value, but they're buying in with, be all into something and be committed to something. That's more, let's say, the metric you want to look at. And the thing about humans also is that they have, let's say, an expensive cost up front to get humans going, to get humans to do stuff. But then they get it in their memory, and they use, and memory just plays out, and they keep doing amazing stuff. But it takes some effort to get humans going. I mean, so the cost of starting, let's say, a machine is pretty high, but then it just goes by itself, and that is kind of cool. So token dumpers, would anyone actually want to dump something if they had invested their whole life into it? I don't think so. So it's kind of interesting also that how you have this side of, first you have the creators, and then you have, let's say, investors, and it's so two different groups that looks at stuff in different ways, and they both sort of need each other in many ways, but both needs to be really be 100% involved. Now you can also make perspective. Yeah, you can also say with automation and all this that, yeah, people can be passive, and all of this, and even investors, yeah, they can be passive, but still their investment probably would go better if they were more involved, if they were more engaged, because then you would have more life, you would have more energy. And isn't it all just about energy, creating the best energy machine, creating the best machine that the most people are involved with? And isn't it true that there is limitless opportunity to reach out to new people on a daily basis? And the challenge is actually not the price. It's to get people to buy in with their real time and energy, where they can see sort of a larger picture of something. So it's kind of interesting how when people just looking at the price and not looking at the human being side. And for me, I just don't understand how anything ever would be able to succeed if you don't start to look at the human being side. And if you have amazing human beings, you will have amazing projects. But it's a long term thing. Like, it really is a long term thing. You're not really going to see any human beings if you really want to, let's say, build them up. I mean, it takes at least 2 to 3 years. And then they have to sort of daily do stuff. It probably takes more, 4 or 5 years or something like that. At the same time as you're observing something, seeing how something is sort of going on let's say a daily basis. So it's something that is kind of fun to consider, and in many ways people sort of lose sight of the long term when they're just focused on the price. The long term is fascinating, to be honest. It is truly fascinating. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, YouTube and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.